Welcome to the very first episode of The Wild Kitchen. I am Tiffany Bader. I couldn't imagine having anyone more fitting to join me in this first episode than Darina Allen. Darina has long been a guiding light in the world of food. As a founder of Ballymaloe Cookery School, she has championed seasonal and wild foods, preserved forgotten cooking skills, and inspired generations of cooks and eaters around the globe. For me, Darina's influence has been deeply personal. Her work sparked my own passion for learning old traditions, for seeking out self-sufficiency, and for passing this knowledge on to others. She was the very first person I hope would join me here, and I feel so grateful that she said yes. So with that, it's my absolute honor to welcome Darina Allen to the Wild Kitchen.
Well, I'm absolutely thrilled. I had no idea this was the first episode or anything. So, well, I'm absolutely delighted to have been chosen. And I'm thrilled to hear I've been a little influenced on you. Do you have the Forgotten Skills book or something like that?
I do, yes. Did you see it? So if you notice,
it looks like it's falling apart as well.
it is. It really truly is. So this is one of my I have quite a large collection of cookbooks. I like a certain style of cookbook, but I have to say this one is probably the most used, most loved book in that entire collection. It has duct tape here on the spine. But thank you, because this book, I think I read it at a time. It came out in 2009. Is that right?
Yeah, I can't remember. It's been republished anyway.
Yeah, it came out at a time I think that was really important for me. I had just had my first child. I had been working in commercial kitchens. I'd gone through cooking school, and I had sort of gone down a path of this is what kitchens are like, and this is what it's like to work in kitchens. And then I read your book, and I had my first child, and I thought, wait a second, it doesn't need to be like this. Like all these experiences I had as a child, like foraging and, picking mushrooms and digging clams on the beach and eating food that was like, it was simple and it was real food. You sparked that in me, and it set me on a totally different path. So I'd like to know, the first thing I'd like to know, did you have someone that sparked that in you?
Yeah. So basically, I come from Ireland. Is an island nation for a start, and I come from the country. I was born in a little village in the Midlands of Ireland in County Laois, and I'm the eldest of 9 children. And my mother absolutely loved to cook, and so there was always cooking going on in our house with 9 of us, as you can imagine. And also there was a kitchen garden, and we had a house cow, and all that sort of thing. So that was my childhood. That was my norm, if you know what I mean. And so I learned how to make things like bread and various things like that just by osmosis. Mommy made bread almost every day. So nobody ever said, this is how to do it. It was just going on around you. And then I went to the local school. And then when I went to boarding school in Wicklow at the other side of the country in my teens, because there was no really good school close to us. And there was the Dominican nuns, and they were always considered to be very visionary nuns. And so they were, at that time in the early 60s, probably before you were born, they were actually encouraging us girls to have a proper career, to do science, do medicine, do architecture, do law, and so on. And because at that time, not many women didn't have careers. They was more traditional. You got married and looked after your children, etc. And so anyway, all I wanted to do was to cook or to garden, because both my grandparents had wonderful gardens and everything. And so the nuns, I can tell you, didn't think much of that. I remember they were saying, "You're never going to need that, my dear. You'll have a cook, and you'll have somebody to look after your grounds," and so on. And anyway, I persisted, and very close to the end of the course, they were, getting exasperated. But anyway, they said, "Okay, if you insist, it must be a degree in horticulture or a degree in hotel management." So I chose hotel management and went to the hotel school in Dublin. I called Bruce. There were just 2 good ones in Ireland at that time, and that was one of them. So I got in there, and only on the second attempt, I can tell you, actually. But anyway, I did eventually. And then at the end of my course there, basically, again, same dilemma. Now, what to do now? So at that time, men were chefs and women couldn't get into top kitchens. And all I wanted to do was to cook and learn more and so on. And so I and you never know in your life what's the little thing that's going to change the course of the rest of your life. And in my case, it was one, virtually everybody else in my class had already got jobs. And the sort of job you get, you see, having done that hotel management would be you get a job in as an assistant manager in one of the top hotels in Dublin or London or whatever. And you'd have a lovely little uniform and a badge with your name on it. You'd feel very important. As far as I was concerned, it was another name for slave. But anyway, I definitely didn't want that. So anyway, I met one of the senior lecturers in the corridor one day, and she said to me, "Why haven't you got a job yet? Everybody else in your class has a job." And I said, "Well, I want to learn more. I want to learn how to cook, more exotic things. I mean, souffles and terrines and pâtés all sounded very exotic at that time." And and I said, "I want to learn more about fresh herbs and about homemade ice cream and things like that." And so anyway, she told me I was far too fussy and why couldn't I be like the rest of them and get a job as an assistant manager. But anyway, but then she said, she said, I had dinner with some friends a couple of nights ago, and they were talking about this woman down in Cork, this extraordinary woman called Myrtle Allen, who's opened a restaurant in her own house out in the country, miles from the Cork city. And she writes the menu every day, depending on what's, fresh in the gardens, and they live close to the sea. So, whatever lovely fresh fish comes in from the boats and so on. And at that time, remember now, when restaurants opened, first and foremost, men were chefs, but when restaurants opened, they wrote the menu, and it could be the same 10 years later. So the whole idea of writing a menu every day was considered to be super amateurish. But I thought, oh my God, this is amazing. She cooks with the seasons. You see, all these sort of things, farm to table, those expressions weren't even, invented or from scratch. So anyway, I said, oh my God, and she said, she makes homemade ice cream because they have their own Jersey herd. And so anyway, I couldn't believe my ears. It was just like, and they have a walled garden, so lots and lots of fresh herbs and everything. So I couldn't believe my ears, and she couldn't remember the name of the woman. And I mentioned Myrtle's name earlier, but she couldn't remember her name. And she said, I'd go back to my friend and ask her. And I said, oh my goodness, that'd be wonderful. So she went back and she came, I met her a few days later, and she gave me a piece of paper, and she said, this is the name of that woman, write to her. And the name on the piece of paper was Myrtle Allen. And Myrtle later became my mother-in-law. So I became a member of the family by the simple expedient of marrying the boss's son. I wrote to her, and she said, oh, I've got children your age and everything. And little did she know I'd run off with her son. But anyway, there you are. So I met this woman who had absolutely no training, who cooked the food that she knew and loved, that she would normally cook for her family and their friends if they came for dinner, and so on. And it all depended on what was lovely and good and freshest in the garden or the greenhouses. They also had a horticultural unit, or what lovely fresh fish came in from the boats in nearby Ballycotton in the evening. And, it was wonderful. I found this woman who taught me the opposite of practically everything I learned in hotel school, but totally reinforced my mother's values around food. And so I was like a sponge. I soaked everything up. And every day we cook something different. And can you imagine that for a learning environment? Because basically nowadays, a lot of people, when they work, when they're in restaurant kitchens, you have a set menu, and you get really good at that. But it might be 30 or 40 dishes if you're lucky. But we had something different every day, for all year round. So that was fantastic. So that's where I started. And then what happened after that? Then, yeah. So anyway, ask another question.
Did you? I guess two questions. Did everyone at the hotel management school think you're crazy for going to work with Myrtle?
Well, they probably thought I was rather unambitious,
Okay.
Why did I want to just cook? But see, the whole reason why I did that. Oh yeah, the other thing was, you see, I couldn't do a chef's course. All the nuns wouldn't hear about it. I'd do a chef's course, something, because that was, chefs and cooks and chefs were looked down on almost at that time, was of lesser value than management, was kind of posher. And so there was very little cooking in the, there was very, very little cooking in the, even in the hotel management thing. So I really wanted to learn more. But anyway, there we are. The only skill I have is how to cook. I often used to joke about it. The one skill that none thought was of no value, really. And I've had such an interesting, fun life, and had so many opportunities to do television, write books, and all the rest of travel all over the world. So I always say to my students now, it doesn't matter what you do, whether you're an astronaut or a doctor or a astrophysicist, you need to stop and learn how to cook. Because if you can cook, you'll never be short of friends. It's one of the easiest ways to win friends and influence people. You can bring joy everywhere you go. Just make sure they do the washing up. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Also,
and I think it might actually be the most important skill. I find it troubling that schools don't teach. They don't put such an emphasis. Emphasis is on, and I think, not to go down the route of feminism and that whole where that has led women. I think it's done a massive amount of good, and I'm not saying it's not good, but I think it did.
But I mean, did women get trapped totally with that in so many ways? Now they need to be all things to all men. Or everybody. They need to look beautiful, be perfect, whatever, have a great job, be able to entertain, cook. They need to be everything, do everything now. So, and in some ways they've fallen, they've got the wrong end, they've got the hard end of the stick. But anyway.
Yeah. And I think for a while there, it was to be a feminist, or to move forward as women, you need to not do certain things. Like you can't, like, don't cook, don't do anything that has to do with gardening or cooking or home things in the home. Right? It's math and science. And even, I mean, I was born in 1977. Even for me, going through school, I was in a bit of a transition period where I would have arguments with my family and say, but I don't want to do that. I went to university. I studied things, and when I got out of it,
a free woman and so on.
Exactly. And I think truly being a free woman means I can make decisions. And if I want to cook, I can cook. And
good
I think
for you.
Well, I think, again, reading your book at that time, it was focusing on traditional skills and things like that I saw my grandmother do when I'd go to Nova Scotia in the summers, and she was the most amazing woman I've ever met. She would get up early and bake bread every day and go out to the garden and, work with her hands. And then in the afternoon, we'd go pick berries. And she blew my mind that this woman could do so many things, and she knew so many things, right?
Yeah. And I bet she was really happy too. Whatever it is, there's, it doesn't do it for everybody, but for those, who enjoy it, my goodness, how wonderful. Yeah,
absolutely. It was very fulfilling for her. And for me, it was giving myself permission to allow these things to be fulfilling for me as well. I mean, I do a lot of other things, but allowing those domestic cooking and gardening and providing for your family to be to be fulfilling.
Super. I was really lucky in many ways too. When I was a child, I just caught the end of an era. I was born in 1948, and I just caught the end of an era, really, to a great extent. I mean, when I was a child, nowadays when children, they go to Spain or France or Italy or something for their holidays, just jump on a plane, off they go, or at least some do. And but when I was a child, if you're going on holidays, it was a question of going to your relatives in County Tipperary to get a bit of fresh bog air or whatever for a couple of weeks. So I loved to go up to my Aunt Lil and Uncle Bob. They had quite a big farm in Tipperary with a lot of bogland as well. So they used to cut and save turf for the fire. So I learned how to do that. And also they kept, of course, cows and pigs and chickens and all of that. So basically, I learned how to milk a cow. I learned how to make butter. And, they had a dairy on the farm. Also, they had pigs. So learn how to, they killed their own pigs and then cured them. And I would help with all of that and everything. So I learned all of these amazing skills. And actually, the Forgotten Skills book, to a great extent, incorporates some of these things in it. I remember, in fact, the Forgotten Skills book was interesting. What really precipitated that was I was in the cooking school one day, and we do courses of all lengths. But basically, on the 12-week, very intensive 12-week course, I was about 5 weeks into the course, and I was in one of the kitchens, and I suddenly see this girl with a bowl in her hand making a dash across the kitchen. Now, the students are taught in the morning if there are any scraps from their cooking, like little carrot peelings or sprigs of herbs or something, that they either put them into the stock pot, or else if they don't qualify for the stock pot, they go into the hens bucket, and that is fed to the hens and comes back as eggs a few days later. It's a sort of circular economy. Very good. Anyway, she's making it with this bowl in her hand, and she looked a bit flustered, and I said, "What's in the bowl?" And she said, I was whipping cream and it's gone all funny. I'm just going to give it to the hens. And that would normally be a virtue, not to throw something out, But I said, no, hang on a minute now. So I looked into the bowl, and of course she'd overwhipped the cream, and it was just starting to separate and going to butter. And I said, no, don't throw that out. You just made butter. You're just about to make butter. So I put it back on the mixer, Kendall mixer, and we whisked it around for a minute or two. And then suddenly the butterfat, separated from the buttermilk, and there she was wide-eyed. And I said, look, you made butter. And at that stage, a whole lot of the class were also gathered around, and I suddenly realised that, of course, these were students and they'd been with me for 5 weeks. How about that for a failure, as I am? That they didn't really, obviously they all knew that butter came from cream, but they had no idea how it had come from, what had happened in the meantime. So they were all fascinated. And so I taught them how to finish it off, how to wash off the butter, salt it, and so on. And they were absolutely thrilled. And now every day students make butter, actually, because we have our own little Jersey herd here and everything. But so I suddenly thought, well, look, this is ridiculous. I mean, honestly, such a simple thing that gives so much joy. I just thought, and I, as I said, had caught the end of an era and learned how to make butter many years ago from my great aunt Lil. And so I I then thought, this is it. I must write a book and record all of these and many, many other things as well. So that was the impetus for the thing that actually got the whole Forgot Skills book started.
And many, many years before COVID hit too. I can only imagine during COVID, the demand for it just
completely sold out during COVID all over the world. That book is actually sold all over the world. And it's one, I've written quite a lot of books. I think I've written 20 or 21 books. But anyway, that's the book that is often the absolute favorite for so many people. And it keeps being republished.
Yeah. It's funny during COVID, the amount of phone calls and emails and friends that pop by and, okay, so can you show me how to do this, or can you show me how to do that?
And it just
it was funny things that even a friend of mine told me one time that her daughter decided she didn't want to eat chicken anymore because she found out that the chicken tenders that she eats are actually from a chicken breast, and where that's actually part of a chicken. Like they called it chicken, but she wasn't able to put two and two together to realize it actually came from an animal. Yeah. So I think, I
mean, everybody's got so many, we got so squeamish and we know so little, and probably the same in Canada. It's really very worrying that we know so little about how our food is produced and where it comes from. And, I think, go ahead.
So I think we don't trust kids. In the same way that there's like kids' meals in restaurants, I don't think we trust kids to be intelligent enough and capable enough to be part of the process. And I really strongly believe the sooner you get kids involved in the process,
connected,
the sooner, it doesn't become an issue.
I mean, it's amazing if you can teach your children how to sow a seed, and then it even if it's just on the windowsill or something, and then it germinates and starts to grow, and they're like utterly fascinated, and then it grows into something they can eat. And of course, it's an incredibly important lesson because it does so many things. First of all, it's the magic of actually being able to grow something to eat, etc. But also, it makes them realize how long it takes to grow something, that it doesn't just appear on the supermarket shelf. And, I mean, it could even be little salad leaves or something on the windowsill, but carrots and beetroot, that I often say to people, do you know how long it takes to grow a bunch of carrots or beets or whatever? And most people have no idea, but I'd say 3 months or 3 to 4 months, depending. And so, in fact, yesterday I was speaking at they called it a climate carnival up in the Midlands. And I was speaking about actually food security. And, in all our countries now, we're going to see food shortages. And we really want to ask ourselves, what if this happened? How am I going to be able to feed my family if the supermarket shelves are bare? This sounds like conspiracy theory stuff, but I can tell you, it's a conversation that needs to be had everywhere, really. But anyway, and I said to them, the audience of hundreds of people, how many of you know how long it takes to grow carrots or beets? And one person put up their hand and said, I think about 4 months. And I said, well, you're right, really. And tell me, we were also talking about the abuse of the supermarkets in some ways, because that also comes into it. And I was just saying, tell me, would you be happy to look after something for 3 or 4 months and then just accept, 60 or 70 cents or 50 cents for it? It's absolutely ludicrous. It can't really good, nourishing, wholesome food cannot be produced for that price. I mean, we have to pay the farmers a fair price to produce nourishing, wholesome food for us, and so on. And the supermarkets put over, I'm sure it's probably the same in Canada, but over here, this side of the world as well, there's this sort of cheap food policy. Disastrous. Lots of people are in a position that they can't spend more on their food than what they have, but basically, everybody needs healthy, wholesome food, because the less you spend on food, and real food, the more you spend on meds. And all that research is there. And then it comes back to even, again, the importance of the skill of learning how to grow something. You can grow some of your own food, which is a real help, and learning how to cook. So all of our governments, I'm not sure what it's like in Canada, whether practical cooking is embedded in the school curriculum or not, but certainly it isn't over here. And you're lucky if there's a very, a kind of passionate teacher in your school who will teach the class how to cook and so on. But basically, it's crazy because the main emphasis in education is on somehow or other equipping the children with a set of academic skills. And, practical skills are looked on as of lesser value. Hello, you can't teach a flipping maths book. The one thing we really need is to teach children how to give them the skills to feed themselves properly and so on, so they can learn and concentrate. And so much depends on dinner, your energy, vitality, your ability to concentrate, and indeed the confidence to be able to ask your pals around to whip up a little spontaneous bit of supper or something. What joy can that bring? Yeah,
I think the most important skill, and I know I'm skewed on a certain side, but when I had my kids, my prime focus for my kids was I want them to learn how to be good, polite human beings. They need to know how to grow food. They need to know how to cook food, and we also hunt and fish. And provided things go sideways, if my kids can say thank you and please and grow carrots and go hunt grouse, I feel like I've equipped them. They can figure out everything else, right?
Well, I think we're on the same wavelength, sweetie. Fantastic. Yeah. How fortunate your children are to learn these things and so on. Good.
Well, it's funny. Especially with my son, because he was a picky. He still is kind of a picky eater.
Yeah.
He loves his potatoes and carbs and bread and things like that.
Well, at least they're nutritious foods.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. But getting him to eat vegetables was challenging. So I decided that I was going to get him to grow his own vegetables. And it was like a light went off in his head.
There you are. If they grow it, they'll eat it.
Yeah, 100%.
Things they would never normally eat. Nope. Radishes, broccoli. They grew it, they'll eat it, and they'll also tell their friends about it, and so on. That's absolutely the key. Well done, you.
Oh, 100%. And it's funny because I would, we'd go hiking a lot as a family, and my husband is 6'6", big man, and he's quite fast. I tend to dawdle a little bit, always looking around at the plants and trying to identify mushrooms and finding berries. And we've sort of both kind of come a little bit closer together. But my kids saw that and saw how I would proceed through the forest And so they were always learning about different plants. So I realized that it was sticking with them one day when I got an email from the school saying that I was to instruct my children to stop telling the other kids at the school about the edible plants that were growing at the school because they were, I guess, at lunchtime.
How short-sighted of the school.
I know. We have.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Well, I guess they were teaching the other kids about these berries are edible and you can eat this plant. And there's some sorrel there and thimbleberries there. And the kids were all eating them. And the school did not like that at all.
The school was scared of insurance or something like that. But back to our earlier conversation about food security. I mean, it's utterly essential. We do a lot of foraging here with the students as well. And of course, the word foraging wasn't even invented when I was a child. But of course, eating foraged foods was part of our childhood, but we didn't. When the damsons were in season in the autumn and the hazelnuts and the sloes and the wild mushrooms, we just ate them at that time, watercress early on in the year, wild watercress, but we didn't call it foraging. I remember the first time I heard the word foraging was when I went to Canada, actually, Souk Harbour House.
Awesome.
Yes, I went to Souk Harbour House and what's his name? Sinclair Phillips there. I remember we had lunch and he had an in-house forager. Can you imagine at that stage? It's about 20-something years ago. And we went foraging with them. And then it opened my eyes to what's around us. And ever since I've been on a whole journey, and it's an endless journey because one learns more and more every time. And it makes life so much more interesting. Every time you go for a walk or for a drive, instead of just being in a landscape and not paying any attention to it, you're sort of thinking, oh, what's that and what's this, and identifying it and all the rest. It makes so much. And then we share this knowledge with students. But not the main reason, but another reason why I'm so keen on foraging is that basically nowadays so much of our food is nutritionally deficient because it's actually produced very intensively and using a lot of chemicals a lot of the time. And so it's much less nutritious than it was in the 19th. And they reckon that if our food now, most of our food on the supermarket shelves or any shelf has, if it has 50% of the nutrients it had in the 1950s, we're very lucky. So, spinach, things have a fraction of the iron, etc. But because most of the foods, commercial foods have been, they continue to try. The most important thing is maximum yield. So they continue to adapt them and everything. But whereas foods in the wild have their full complement of vitamins, minerals, trace elements, etc. So they're incredibly nutritious and good for us as well. And back to we might well be glad to actually be able to identify things. And you have lots of wonderful berries and things we don't have over here.
Really?
We have some things you haven't, but so that's fantastic. Yeah. And I remember Sinclair, apart from being involved in trying to protect is it red fife wheat? Is that a wheat?
Yes, that's a local Canadian wheat.
It was a heritage wheat that was under threat at that time. But also he was, he also foraged he dived for his own scallops and things like that as well. Incredible.
We're pretty lucky here. We've got some amazing things. I mean, I was up in Southeast Alaska last week, and within one day we were picking chanterelles, catching halibut. We're catching wild coho, spot prawns.
So envious. So envious.
It was amazing. It was
really wonderful. Actually, on the first day of the 12-week course here with the students, the first thing I do actually is this sounds so hippie-ish actually, but I am an ancient hippie in many ways. But anyway, I have a big wheelbarrow of soil there just on the steps outside the green dining room, and they all gather around me on the first morning, in a semicircle, wondering what's coming. And I the first thing I do is I run my hands through the soil in the wheelbarrow, which is actually humus. In fact, it actually comes from the final stages of us making compost. And a lot of what's in the compost would have been some of the scraps that have gone down from the kitchens a year earlier down into the composted down. I run my hands through it and I say, what is this? And they're thinking, well, we came to a cooking school. It doesn't say anything about this in the brochure now. and they're looking, some of them say soil. And in America, what we call soil, we call it, you call it dirt. Now, what you call it in Canada? What do you call soil in Canada?
We got soil or dirt, like
dirt
all
or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then I'm, we have wonderful living soil with lots of little wiggly worms and everything. And they think, oh my God. And then I say to them, do you know something? We are totally dependent on this 3 or 4 inches of soil around the world for our very existence. That, these 3 or 4 inches of soil underneath our feet that we don't give a moment's thought to. Because if we don't have rich, fertile soil, we won't have clean water and we won't have good food. And they think, oh my God, what's this about, And then, but I have to shock them out of thinking that food is something that comes wrapped in plastic off a supermarket shelf.
Yeah.
I have to get them to think about the soil, about how food is produced, where it comes from, the feed, the breed, etc. And then I quote Lady Eve Balfour, who is one of the founders of the Soil Association, who had many, many quotable quotes. But anyway, one of them is, remember, the health of the soil, the health of the plant, the health of the animal, and the health of the human are all one and connected. So we're only as well as we are because of how rich and fertile that soil is, and so on. And so, and then I say to them, look, you're here now for 3 months. In the middle, out in the country, in the middle of a 100-acre organic farm we have extensive gardens. It's a working very biodiverse farm. I say, what I want you to do is to become super curious. I want you to look around you and say, do I know that name of that tree? Do I know that shrub? What's that plant there? Can I eat it? I mean, I've got a one-track mind. So I say, can I eat it?
Common response.
So I say to them, I want you to ask yourself. And then I say, tell me, how many of you could name 10 native Irish trees, although we have students from all over the world, or for any part of your country, 10 native trees. I don't know that ever any of the students have been able to, even if I said 5. And then suddenly we realize that we move around in our environment without in any way connecting to nature a lot of the time. And so it opens their eyes. It gives them a whole new outlook on life. And then when they leave, I have 3 months to indoctrinate them. And when they leave, then they share their experience and their knowledge with other people, both the cooking and the foraging and preserving everything else. Yeah.
Oh, I think that's great. I start every day going out in my garden, stick my hands in the dirt. It is the most grounding thing. It makes you feel good. You see, I love looking at plants. I love seeing the progress day to day. And I think it makes you a better cook. I really, truly believe that what grows together goes together. I mean,
that's true too. Yeah, for sure.
It really does.
Yeah.
And like you were saying before about nutrition-wise, especially something like vitamin C. The longer it's being stored, the less vitamin C is available. It just breaks down. And
freshness is incredibly important. You're quite right. Yeah. And I mean, you were saying earlier there about one of your sons who doesn't like vegetables very much. But I mean, there is the world of difference in flavor between something you pick in your own garden, bring it in, cook it, and something's on the supermarket shelf. I mean, I love Romanesco and broccoli that we grow ourselves. The children love it. Their friends who come to the house for supper, who would never dream of eating it at home. They think, oh, it tastes so different. When I taste broccoli, when I taste vegetables off a supermarket shelf, I know exactly why kids won't eat them. There's no way I wouldn't eat them either a lot of the time. Now, that's a bit of a sweeping statement, but a lot of the time it will be 4 or 5 days at least before it's on the shelf. A lot of the time, unless it's organic, it also will have, for me, I can get I can distinctly get the flavor of a residue of chemicals in some things. So, I mean, why the heck would you want to eat that? I mean, kids, I'm convinced that kids' taste buds are actually more sensitive, or that's the wrong word. I don't know about the science of that, but from my observation, that would seem to be the thing. But basically, I fully understand. Then people say, eat more greens, eat more plants. Well, yes, but they have to taste delicious. And tasting delicious, the flavor of something means very often flavor and nutritional value are connected. So
100%.
nature's way of tempting us to eat things is to make things delicious. But the longer we keep them and store them and transport them halfway across the world or halfway across the country, the less flavor they have. And back to your vitamins, the less vitamins and minerals they, and so on. So this is yet another, I mean, how fortunate are we to live in a place where we can have a garden and so on. But I'm, even to get started with something on a windowsill. But the other thing, tell me, do you have the homesteading movement in Canada? Is that something in Canada? Yeah. Oh,
since
God.
COVID.
This is amazing. Yeah. We
Yeah.
have in America too. I mean, my latest project, as you know, as you may or may not know, I started the Ballymaloe Cookery School in 1983. Quite a long time ago. It's nearly, 40 years ago or something, 40-something years ago now, do the math. But then the word retirement was mentioned, if you don't mind, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And so that was not the word in my lexicon. But anyway, I was encouraged, because we've got a great team here and everything. We have one teacher with every 6 students. So it's a great team. But anyway, and then I thought, well, if I'm going to draw back a bit from the day-to-day running of the cooking school, then I need another project. So I thought this is the perfect opportunity now to pass on the skills from the farm and gardens and the greenhouses and all of that to the students, because I'd noticed they were becoming more and more interested over the last couple of decades in how the things were grown and produced and everything. So anyway, I started the Ballymaloe Organic Farm School over 2 years ago.
Amazing.
And it's smaller, of course, than and intentionally smaller than we take about 20 people at a time. So I started this in September 2023. So it's over 2 years now. And I'd hoped that it would be a success, but my God, I had no concept of the overwhelming response we get to it. Absolutely everything is oversubscribed. People are flying from Canada, America, the US, from Australia, etc., to courses for even a week, or we do 5 week, we do days to half days. But anyway, back to the homesteading. So this is really, it has just connected in to the deep craving that people have to reconnect, take back a little bit of control over their lives, to grow something, keep a few hens, save seeds, etc. And it turns out that there are very, very few places that you can learn these skills actually on a farm. There are people who stand up, or you can have books and stand up and tell you how to do it, etc. But to actually be able to come onto a farm and do it, very, very few places. So anyway, we've been inundated with students. Everything is oversubscribed pretty much. And, but I don't want to get bigger. I just want to keep it at this size. And, it's been such a joy. We just finished a 6-week sustainable, food program. And we do weeks. The Climate Farm School came over from California for a week, and days and all sorts of things. And now I'm going to start a whole series. You'll be amused at this. I have already started actually a whole series of forgotten skills courses as well. And that could be anything from half days to whatever. So anyway, and last year we did two homesteading courses as well as all the other courses. Yesterday, for example, it was how to rear beef cattle, organically. The farm is organic, and, what we do is organic. Yeah. And, to also sell directly from, selling meat directly from the farm. But this year we did 5. We have another one coming up in 2 weeks, I think, homesteading courses, week-long courses packed with everything. And completely, next year I think we might do 8 or something, But this cheers me up so much because, you probably know this homesteading movement is quite the phenomenon. It's a worldwide thing, by the way. Yeah. And people leaving the cities in their hundreds of thousands, okay? Now, that's not a mistake. I'm saying hundreds of thousands. In New York, and some of your, even I'm sure in your Canadian cities too, this is happening. There are people, and I say to people, why? Often it's people in tech or finance or whatever, making a ton of money, a crazy busy life, almost not enough time to spend it. And I say, well, how did you decide to come, over for, or decide to go homesteading, or why are you thinking about it? And the story goes something like this. Well, I was you're sitting in the car one day and yet in another traffic jam, and it was raining or not. In Ireland, it might be raining. And I was in, desperate, and I was really anxious because I was very late for work, blah, 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 something or other. And they're in a great state of anxiety, and they suddenly have this moment, and they see their whole life stretching out ahead of them. And think, oh my God, is this my whole life? There has to be another way. And often, one or both partners can cook, at least can grow, at least can work a bit from home. And so, but then they really want to take back a bit of control. A lot of the time, even in their early years, they're already beginning to have health problems because they don't have, haven't got time to either cook or to indeed, for that matter, source real food. So they realize that this is affecting their health, and they just think, that's it, I want to take back control of it. And
Yeah, I think we've been sold a lie. I think we've been told,
have we? What?
Go to school,
go,
be a good employee, go work in a city, and then you'll be happy. You'll have lots of money. You'll be happy. The government will take care of your roads and things. And people that live, like I live in Vancouver, and our city is. I've lived here my whole life, and I have seen the change. And the downtown cores they're just rotting. And I think people saw that during COVID.
There could be another life.
Yeah. Well, I think they also saw two things. I think they saw that the shelves are not going to be full.
Yeah.
Especially, and I think they also saw that people make bad choices when they're scared. Here, everyone bought toilet paper and meat. And it shook my head. I'm like, why is this, like, you're afraid of this pandemic and you're buying toilet paper. But that the government's not going to always be there to take care of them. And there is a bit of a breakdown there where they feel like, I need to learn how to do these things myself.
Yeah.
And so the cities are no longer a haven for them. So they leave, they move. And there's also not a lot of access for people to learn these things. Like you said, there's like a school like yours is very hard to find. People have gone through, like, you want to learn about farming for the past.
I didn't realize that it was kind of,
No.
I mean, people kind of use I doubt if it's absolutely true, but people are now using the word unique. I say, why did you come to Ireland to, halfway across the world? I mean, that's the irony of that, and climate change times isn't lost on me. But anyway, but to come and learn these skills, well, that's okay. That's a trade-off. And so basically, they say because because they can't find it somewhere else. And I said, oh my goodness, Anyway, there we
are. I think farmers have learned over the past, 100 years now, you farm a certain way. And it's, like you said, it's for yield. It's subsidized by the government. They're not learning there's not a lot of these farms, these 40 to 100 acre farms where you're chickens and cattle and pigs. And not only are you raising these animals.
Mixed farms, exactly. But I tell you what, I feel so sorry for farmers. I'm a bit familiar with the American farming thing. I'm very familiar with England and Ireland, but farmers in general are in a dreadful state, and I feel so sorry for them. These are the big intensive farmers, particularly. They have done exactly what they were told to do by the agriculture advisory services in all of our countries. Lash on the chemicals, do this, get bigger or get out, and all the rest of it. And they suddenly find they're making no money. They're like slaves. And the supermarkets then are the other bit of the picture, where they're forcing down the prices and people are not being paid anything resembling a fair price, or even a break-even price to produce the food. Here in Ireland, we have we had 500 or 600 commercial vegetable growers a couple of years ago. I think it's down to something like 60 or something now. I mean, absolutely ludicrous. And so much of the produce in a country where we have the most incredible fertile soil, a lot of our vegetables are being imported. So we're in a fine mess. We really are. And then the other thing that's really exercising me and keeping me awake at night at the moment is the whole ultra-processed food crisis. Now, it's probably the same in Canada, but recently the EU, before Christmas, I think they did a survey in all of the European EU countries, and they found that Ireland was 45.9% of our weekly spend on food goes at ultra-processed food. Now, the UK spend more, but they're not any younger in Europe. And the US is way up there. But anyway, so now that's on average. So I heard yesterday, actually, that a lot of the younger people, they reckon 60+% of their food, this is in Ireland, is actually spent on ultra-processed food. And so nobody can say we don't know the damage this is doing to our health. Our government has got to wake up and see what's happening in front of their eyes, because none of our governments are going to be able to fund the health service within a very short time. And all those foods are very carefully made so that they're addictive. Also, the food they're cheaper. The food that's less good for you is cheaper. Oh my God, are we sleepwalking into a crisis of monumental proportions? So this really worries me. Yeah.
Yeah. And the grocery stores love it because they don't go bad. So there's no, I find that the area in that center section of the grocery store where all the processed foods are just keeps getting bigger and bigger. It's hard.
Bigger, yes.
I find it's worse in the States. But when I travel down to the States, I find it's hard to find food that's not processed.
Food. It's hard to find food.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
actual
not
food.
Yeah.
It's actually called food, but they're sort of, as Michael, Paula says, edible food-like substances.
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly.
It's a great name. But it's, oh my God, I'm terrified for the next generation. And I don't know what I think. I spent my life, teaching people how to cook and everything. I think, what a failure am I? I really think if they would have me back on television in my late to late 70s, I've got to say to people, for God's sake, wake up, that this is, we're on a roller coaster to a total disaster. Yeah. All over the world. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
People complain about the price of food. And during COVID, people complained about food access and the price of food going up.
Yeah.
I have found personally, I don't find it as much. I don't want to be insensitive to people that have a lack of choice in certain areas and things like that. But if you are, obviously growing your own food reduces the cost. It's just time you're putting in. But I find for me, it's time. I can
as long as you don't price your own time, it's cheaper.
Well, yeah, but what am I doing?
Joy.
Yeah. What am I doing with my time? I could sit in front of the TV. I could, it's
watch a cooking program.
Yeah,
people watch them for much more time.
Exactly.
Than the kitchen anyway.
It's time outside. It's exercise. I'm doing something healthy. But making those connections with local foragers, farmers, ranchers, getting your food, buying larger quantities and knowing how to break it down, like making the priority, learning how to cook real food.
Yeah.
And learning how to process, obviously buying strawberries in January from, I don't know where your strawberries come from, but ours are from Chile and Argentina.
You get strawberries from January to December here at the supermarkets, but they're just in season for about 2.5 or 3 months in the summer and so on. But, there's something that just occurs to me. I keep forgetting. I keep thinking of it and then thinking, I then interrupting myself and not saying it. But there's something very different and satisfying about doing something with your hands. Mm-hmm. So many people have really good jobs and are making a ton of money and they're in front of computer screens all day. And obviously that's their choice. And that is the sort of work that's very well paid nowadays, much more so than manual work to a great extent. But I've seen CEOs of top companies here coming to school. They might come for a week or something, or 2.5 days or something, and we teach them how to make a loaf of bread and various other things as well. And my God, the expression on their face when they take this loaf of bread out of the oven that they made with their own hands, and it's like they get more satisfaction from it than if they've pulled off the biggest deal, because they've done something with their own hands. And it's the same with sowing a seed and growing something, basically you grew it. Of course, you can buy it, you have the money to buy it, but you don't get the same satisfaction. And when you eat it, then you want everybody to know, you enjoy every morsel. You don't want to waste a scrap. You want everybody to know you grew it. And it's a whole different, and then people say to me, how come I never realized that it was so wonderful to do things yourself with your own hands. And, it's really moving for me to see this wake up moment so often with people and who suddenly have this experience for the first time and it changes their lives.
Oh yeah. Because I think it really does, and it's funny. My husband's friends with someone who wrote a book on that subject that you were just talking about how we have built a generation of people that have tech jobs that can't do anything with their hands.
Toast.
No, they have no skill whatsoever, practical skills, and that we're reaching a precipice where we're going to find that, in his opinion, we're going to find that plumbers are going to make more money than lawyers because AI is going to alter what value is in a lot of these jobs.
Exactly. Well, you'll never be short of a job if you're an electrician or a plumber. I can tell you, there's months waiting lists on them, even over here. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
It's the same thing here. But that putting value in things. Yes, we can buy something off Amazon and it can come. I can buy a
comes in a packet
and
so on.
Yeah. And it comes from China. Whatever, cost me a couple bucks, or I can go build it myself.
Yeah.
We need to start looking at the value in having that skill and looking on your wall and saying, I made that, right?
Yeah.
And again, with our kids, my husband's done that a few times with them. He's built, he built a bed with my daughter. They went through together and they built a bed and she knows. So she looks at that. She built that with her father, with their hands.
And the satisfaction, it's a totally different thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody should have the joy of feeling that. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Well,
that's why we're still back to front with our education. You see, it's all the academic skills rather than the valuing. Anyway, there we are. We can't. We can only make a little difference in our own area. But I think you're very fortunate to have the experiences you've had, which you can share with your listeners and so on.
Well,
and give them an appetite for it. Yeah.
Well, I feel like I want to continue what you instilled in me. Like I really, truly want to thank you for that. What you do is amazing, and what you continue to do there. And I really do need to get over to Ireland to go check it out.
To Ireland. Come and visit us, and we can cook and garden together, and you can walk around the farm and all the rest of it. Yeah,
that would be amazing. That would be amazing. Well, was there anything else you wanted to cover?
Now, let me think. Well, I just rambled off there. So is there anything else you want? Oh yeah, I'll tell you. So, the Ballymaloe Cookery School is right in the middle of a 100-acre farm. So, literally the students can go down with the gardeners and bring in the produce in the morning or learn how to milk the cows. Or we also have a fermentation shed and a bread shed. So there's all kinds of different things. But basically, if you're in Ireland, you're talking about coming to Ireland, anybody who's on holidays over here, the afternoon cookery demonstrations are open to the public every day. So, you can come in for a half day or a day, or, they're longer courses, weeks, 3-month courses for people who want to get the skills, like it's like gastro boot camp. They very intense, full on for people who want to get the skills to earn their living from their cooking. And I can tell you, we're better than Tinder any day as well. That's great thing for a man. The way to everybody's heart is through their tummy. So anyway, that's so there we are. So if anybody's in the area, they can just telephone and come in for the afternoon. That's quite fun. Yeah, get a taste of what we're doing there. Yeah.
Well,
we have a little farm shop on the farm too. Yeah.
Amazing. And I'll put links when I post the podcast. I will put links to this book, which I think every single person needs to have.
That's really nice.
And hopefully they will get it as dog-eared as mine is. But I just want to say thank you very much. I really appreciate you talking to me today.
And also, you can, if you like, you can put a link to the farm school. Ballymaloe Organic Farm School, and to the Ballymaloe Cookery School. And we're down on the south coast of Ireland, very close to the sea. east of Cork, and Cork City is about 35 miles from. It's about it's about nearly an hour from here. But there's an airport in Cork as well, so you can fly straight into Cork Airport.
Perfect. Well, I'll put those links and see how many people we can get dropping in on your school, coming to say hello from Canada.
Oh, that's lovely. We're already very multi-ethnic. I mean, they're always students from all over the world, which is lovely. I think on this 12-week course, there are 11 nationalities. On the last one, there were 16. It's fantastic. So when the students come, they have friends in 14, 16 new countries, which is lovely. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed talking with you.
It was lovely to chat to you, Tiffany. And I'm so honored to be the first person on your great new adventure. How fortunate people are to have you there at the click of a switch.
Well, you made my day when I got that email back with you saying yes. So,
well, thank you. It's been lovely chatting to you. Thank you. Bye.